William Golding's intriguing novel, Lord of the Flies, is about young, upper-class British boys who become stranded on an island after a plane crash. This event ripples throughout the novel as the youthful boys try to adapt and understand their surroundings. Fear and hope of survival help the characters persevere, and their candid emotions reflect the challenges of childhood. One should read Lord of the Flies due to the brilliance of William Golding's writing and the manner in which it reels one in.
The story follows a cast of characters from which the following are highlighted. The main characters include Ralph, Jack, Piggy, Simon, Sam, Eric, and Roger. Ralph is the elected leader of the boys while they are on the island. Jack is the leader of the hunters. Piggy is Ralph's companion and helps him govern the children. Simon is a quiet child, but helpful and reliable when it comes to doing work. Sam and Eric are twins that are inseparable and do their work together in a pair. Roger is Jack's right-hand man and is dependent and trustworthy, never stepping away from Jack, no matter what decisions he makes. This cast of characters are the main focus of the book, and interactions between Ralph's group, which consists of Piggy, Simon, Sam and Eric, and the hunters, which is everybody else, are highlighted throughout this book. Eventually, the book's story leads to a power struggle between the two leaders, Ralph and Jack. The setting of the story takes place on an uninhabited island. The boys get stranded on the island after their flight goes down, and they wash up on shore. None of the crew or pilots are left alive, leaving the boys, who are at oldest 13 years old, to fend for themselves. The book takes place in the 50s, during a worldwide war, leaving the children stranded on the island for a long time. The book begins with Ralph blowing a conch shell and the children gathering together. Everyone's roles are chosen, and Ralph is put in charge to watch over everyone and create rules. As the novel goes on, the hunters realize the limited power and protection behind the rules and break away from Ralph. Because the consolidation of power was impossible against the hunters, most of the island joined Jack's tribe as they provided a stable income of food. The power struggle begins after these events occur. As Jack tries to consolidate and rule the land, he has to take out his opponents, which leads to a widespread fire throughout the forest as they are trying to kill Ralph. This fire acts as a smoke signal and leads to the eventual rescue of the children who are still left on the island. The basis of this story is unique, action-packed, and suspenseful. The way in which it unravels makes for an enjoyable time and a great novel to read.
Moreover, one should read Lord of the Flies due to the uniqueness of each character and the fascinating changes which take place in each over the course of the book. One such character in the book is Ralph. He is the main character and the future leader on the island on which the boys find themselves stranded. Ralph is interesting in that he finds himself grasping for power as soon as the opportunity presents itself. He does this by calling the other children using the conch and then declaring that he should be their leader. Over the course of the book, Ralph goes from just being a kid wanting power to an actual leader who genuinely cares about the success of the boys. His power is constantly being challenged by Jack, who himself wants to be the leader and so despises Ralph for his success. Even in the face of these conflicts, Ralph stays put and does not let his power wane. It is only when Jack mutinies against Ralph's group that he seems to find his power diminished. While this is true, Ralph still did not back down and did everything in his power to bring the kids to rescue. If Ralph had not evolved from the stubborn boy he was at the beginning of the story to the great commander that he was at the end, the boys would not have been saved, and there would have been many more casualties on the island. Another peculiar character who adds to the appeal of the book is Piggy. At the beginning of the book, he is made fun of and bullied for his nickname. Over the course of the book, however, we increasingly see that he is the logical one of the group, helping Ralph to lead. In addition to this, we also see his confidence start to rise throughout the story. Near the beginning of the book, Piggy is very shy and is not able to defend himself against the other kids. However, near the end of the book, Piggy starts to realize his worth and contributes more to the group. After Jack's tribe steals Piggy's glasses, effectively making it so that he cannot see anymore, Piggy decides that he has had enough and wants to go over and take his glasses back from the rival tribe. In this, we can see how Piggy bloomed in the book, going from just a shy kid with asthma to an essential part of the kid's survival on the island. Piggy can also serve as an inspirational character for these reasons, mainly because of how he was able to rise up and become a valuable part of the group, even though he was bullied by the other boys. A third character who exemplifies a prime reason to read The Lord of the Flies is Jack. He is the main rival to Ralph and the power that he has over the boys. Jack is incredibly jealous of Ralph becoming chief. This hatred for Ralph slowly festers and grows with each coming chapter, eventually leading to him splitting off and creating a separate tribe where he is in charge. Over the course of the novel, we see his evolution, from just a character who wished to have power to one who would forcefully take it for himself. We can also see how his recklessness grows throughout the book, ultimately culminating in his tribe killing Ralph's subordinates and attempting to kill Ralph himself. His brutality increases tremendously throughout the novel and provides an interesting contrast to Ralph, who seemingly becomes less violent as time goes on. This difference between the two fuels their rivalry and helps to increase the tensions between the two conflicting tribes. Due to Jack's unique character in combination with his savage nature, reading the book instantly becomes more enthralling. This makes Lord of the Flies a book that one should read so as to witness these conflicts and the captivating way in which they occur.
Internal conflict is a conflict inside of a character's mind. One of the best examples of this is seen in the main character of the novel, Ralph. From the very beginning of the novel, Ralph was put into a leadership position. Golding went into great depth to flesh him out as a character and as a person. One of Ralph's biggest struggles is between maintaining stability and becoming a savage. When Ralph became leader, his main goals were to set up shelter, organize the boys into their key roles, and keep a signal fire lit. He expressed to the boys that the most important thing was to make sure their chance of getting rescued was as high as possible. However, once boys like Jack broke off and started their own group of savages, the order and peace that Ralph tried to bring quickly fell apart. It often seemed easier to succumb to the urges of savagery, but Ralph carried on and fought his way through it. This conflict not only adds to the depth of Ralph as a character, but allows the reader to sympathize better with him throughout the events of the novel. Another major internal conflict is seen within Jack. From the very beginning, Jack resisted Ralph's order. He wanted to become the leader instead. He acted proud, confident, and generally made it appear that he knew what he was doing. However, when the author switches things to Jack's perspective, the reader is shown that this is not really the case. Jack is always riddled with doubt and constantly questions his own choices. This is his internal conflict, and it plays a crucial part in the story. It is made most prominent when Jack begins to lead his own tribe. We are given a view inside of his mind, and even though he acts confident when ordering his subjects around, he always questions himself. As a result, many of the important decisions that Jack makes are impulsive and end up being catalytic. External conflict also plays a big role in The Lord of the Flies. One of the best examples of this is the boys against the environment. The island that they crash land on plays a crucial role in the development of the story. First, the boys are greeted with sweltering heat and blinding sunlight. This leads to the construction of shelters and Ralph taking the lead of the boys. It also leads the boys down a path of savagery. The pigs that lived on the island were simply too tempting for many of the boys, including Jack, who break away from Ralph and make their own group of hunters. Large boulders on the island also resulted in the death of a main character, and the fruits caused stomach pains for the boys early on. However, the best example of an external conflict in Lord of the Flies is the one between Ralph and Jack. Their conflict is what moves the entire story forward. From the very beginning, Ralph and Jack are set up as logical and impulsive characters respectively. Ralph does his best to ensure the survival of everyone and to keep the signal fire lit. Jack, on the other hand, becomes a chief of sorts and commands his boys to do various things. They hunt down and kill the pigs, but it doesn't stop there. Jack leads his group by fueling fears of a beast on the island, and this results in the death of their innocent friend, and later another friend when he gets crushed by a boulder. The way in which William Golding structures these conflicts within his book truly makes it a worthwhile read.
In addition to this, Lord of the Flies presents fascinating themes which can be applied to one's everyday life. The consistent themes that are present throughout the entirety of the novel are law and order versus recklessness, democracy versus monarchy or chiefdom, and mob mentality. These three concepts are expressed through the characters and events that occur. Law and order are seen during the beginning of the novel when all the boys live in harmony, listening to their leader. However, through a power struggle between two of the main characters who both have very strong personalities, chaos rises. This causes a couple of characters to become reckless and lead other children to follow their savage fun. Both groups challenge each other, causing one of the main conflicts in the novel. Another theme is democracy versus monarchy or chiefdom. This represents the type of order in both groups. Ralph's tribe was a democracy, where although there was a chief, the members voted on actions together. Dissimilar to Ralph, Jack's tribe was barbaric. Jack was the ultimate leader, and the members didn't have much say on anything the tribe participated in. Finally, mob mentality is when people are influenced by others to create large groups who engage in rash decisions and behaviors. This theme is shown through the behavior of all the members of Jack's tribe. They are all influenced by Jack's thoughts, and they don't wish to anger him, so they follow everything he tells them to do without any questions. The mob mentality becomes very harmful near the end of the novel when one group had more power and people fighting for the subject compared to the other group who didn't have the mob mentality. All three of these themes interconnect through the novel, and that is what makes Golding's ideas so interesting. Where readers notice law and order, they also notice a democracy. Contrasting to that, when readers see recklessness, they also notice a chiefdom and a mob mentality, where the people have minimum representation and individuality. Golding's ideas have some truth to them, as some countries like New Zealand, which is a democratic nation, live in peace and harmony with relatively all of its residents. However, this is not always the case, as some democratic nations like Mexico only have a law and order index of 60. Being able to relate Golding's ideas to reality is another factor why The Lord of the Flies is a piece of literature worth reading. Words aren't engrossing without the use of diction, figurative language, and different rhetoric. Throughout the novel, Golding uses informal diction to create an environment where the readers can connect to the characters. If the readers are older, the colloquial language allows the audience to feel like they're in their youth again, and if readers are younger, it allows them to sympathize or empathize with the characters. Golding's use of informal words really helps the audience understand the candid emotions that the characters feel. Next, the author uses figurative language to create the environment that the characters are in. It helps the readers truly feel where the characters are and why they feel the emotions that they do. Golding symbolizes many events, objects, and characters. He grabs the reader's attention by showing connections between various factors of the novel. For example, the conch that Ralph uses in the beginning to inform all of the members that there is a meeting shows that Ralph is in charge. Later in the novel, the Lord of the Flies is found and embodied through a sow's head. The voice of the Lord of the Flies tries to influence one of the main characters to give in to their natural barbaric thoughts. It represents the savagery and evil that hides in everyone's mind. Finally, throughout the whole novel, in hopes of being rescued, the characters keep a fire going. This shows the wish of getting to safety. However, when the fire gets extinguished, it symbolizes that the savagery and adrenaline that comes with it has started to weigh more than wanting to get back to civilization. Golding uses many types of figurative language to really make the readers feel compelled to flip the page and continue reading. Lastly, the author uses 3 types of rhetoric to captivate the audience. Examples of logos are some of the characters appeal to logic, reality, and law and order. Ralph, Piggy, and Simon don't give in to the thoughts of violence, unlike the other characters. Jack and Roger show ethos by demonstrating their lack of ethics. They do this by participating in wild activities like throwing rocks at little kids. The 3rd type of rhetoric is pathos, an appeal to emotion. Golding uses pathos in his writing by hurting some characters both emotionally and physically that the readers were absorbed in. Through all 3 types of style that the author uses, the novel becomes more than just a piece of writing. Considering all of the previous points, it is coherent that William Golding's novel, The Lord of the Flies, is a well-written piece of writing that engrosses the readers all the way to the end. The plot is enthralling, and its events interest the readers enough for them to always be on their toes. As the characters are all unique and have their own personalities, the characters are believable and realistic. Personally, I was touched through the pathos Golding incorporated. The sincere emotions and interactions between the characters were what compelled me to keep on reading. Simon was my favorite character because all he wanted to do was be included and accepted by the other boys. I feel like many people can relate to the sentiment Simon expressed. The novel also unveils many thoughts about society and humans themselves. It shows how much of an influence adults have on children. Golding makes his novel effective by communicating the importance of authority being present because if children are young, they are more likely to give in to their untamed thoughts. It also shows the struggle of ethos that people go through on a daily basis. Every day, different choices are made, and they can be altered in less than a second. For us, for teenagers, we use logic to choose between right and wrong. However, for someone who is less mature or feeling strong emotions, they may go through with their impulsive thoughts. When people are free from the constraints of societal standards, they are more likely to make decisions which they would otherwise not commit. Normally, what society deems as acceptable and unacceptable constricts the manner in which people may act. However, when placed in a situation in which those constraints are removed, one can experience true freedom without repercussions, as is what happened with the boys on the island. This new sense of freedom the boys are experiencing is what drives them to commit violent acts, pushing their ethical and moral boundaries further than they have ever been before. This can be applied to everyday society and the manner in which certain people commit crimes to gain a sense of adrenaline. This craving for a feeling of adrenaline is connected to the boys on the island and the violent manner in which they go about chasing this feeling. As people in today's society commit crimes against laws, they are punished accordingly. With laws set by governments, there comes order and relative peace. The people who follow the law are the good citizens of society. Unlike today's society, the novel does not have the authority or a government that can back the rules and punish criminals respectfully. Shaq and the hunters realize this, and they stop following Ralph. For the hunters, the power to back what they believe is what they are trying to reach. This creates a different world where things don't work the way they do in our society. This makes the readers question the actions of the children and contemplate what they would do in their situation. The readers are immersed in the story because they are able to think about aspects that aren't directly discussed in the novel but shown through the characters and their thoughts and emotions. All in all, The Lord of the Flies is a gripping novel that our group undoubtedly recommends.